Looks like somebody decided to join us. Alright, we're back, of course, talking some FF7. We're talking Rebirth, kind of, but also we're just talking FF7 in general. So recently, Yoshinori Kitase, Naoki Hamaguchi did yet another interview. One of 4,000 interviews they've done in the last couple months with Danny Pena, who is, I think, a podcaster, but also he has a YouTube channel. It's kind of interesting because the video hasn't made the rounds that much. It's been out for a few days. I think as of right now, as I'm recording, it has less than 1,000 views, right? But there's been multiple articles written about it because there's a couple of interesting bits from it. There's really just like one major thing that I'm interested in, which is, Kitase being a little bit interested in them doing some sort of FF7 TV show or movie or something like that, which I'm a big fan of, Advent Children. I'd be interested in some sort of FF7 type series or something. But besides that, it's not like anything that's like groundbreaking information necessarily. To Danny's credit, though, he does ask them directly about Xbox. They don't give us a really good answer, of course, because why would they? They're not going to announce that necessarily ahead of time, right? They want to do, if they're ever going to drop, the remake project on Xbox, it's going to be like a, big reveal at some point, some surprise reveal. They're not just going to give it away in some random interview, right? I will say, too, in terms of the interview, it's a bit of a longer video. It's like 24 minutes, but there's not like a ton of questions being asked because of the obvious language barrier. That's what kind of lengthens the interview, because it's obviously questions being asked in English, translated to them in Japanese, they answer in Japanese, and it's translated back to Danny in English, right? So it kind of takes a while per question. So the video opens up with Hamaguchi just answering a question. I don't know what the question was that was asked, because Danny like plays his intro and just rolls into Hamaguchi with the mic talking. Not sure what it is about exactly. I don't even know.
のゲームデザインをしていたので、そこからやっぱりこう2作目に行った。
Ultimately, we can kind of skip through a good portion of the video here to about the 8-something minute mark, which is when he talks about the Xbox thing. The first two questions, which does take like 8 minutes, is just about like side quests in the game, whether or not there was like too much or was it overwhelming, things like that, which we've talked about a lot on the channel, obviously. And he asked whether or not there's going to be like a difference in the PC version of Rebirth versus Remake. Hamaguchi just confirmed that when it comes to the PC version of Rebirth, there should be more like customization options and things like that compared to Remake.
And any future plans about Xbox version? I know there's a lot of fans that will like to try it out for the first time, Is there anything like that or no? If you could talk about it.
I personally like to play on the Xbox, and media picked that up. So at this time, I'm afraid there isn't really anything we can say about Final Fantasy Remake project on Xbox. Of course, we do have this vision in terms of future sort of how we spread the remake project. And of course, we always want to introduce the game to as many players as we can. And we did release the PlayStation 5 version originally, and then now we're going to be releasing a PC version. And we are hopeful that there may be opportunities that could be explored.
More or less kind of what we've heard before, where they do want to put the remake project on other platforms, but they can't outright say, we want to put this show on the Switch 2 or the Xbox or whatever. Because what else is there? Like, if you already got it on PlayStation, you already got it coming to PC, like, if you want to put it on other platforms, other than mobile phones, what's left besides the next Nintendo console or fucking Xbox? But as I've been saying on the channel for quite a long time at this point, it's eventually happening. When is it happening? Who the hell knows? It will be after the trilogy is complete? Possibly. But they are kind of like more talking about other platforms now, which would be kind of weird if, the third game is not coming out for another, couple years at this point at least. Like, if they're talking about other platforms currently, like, maybe it could happen before the third game comes out. Because one of the questions that I did see an article written about was, like, who is their, like, favorite character, essentially? Like, what's their standout character? And for Hamaguchi, it's Cloud. For Kitase, it's Vincent. And this is something we've heard in other interviews countless times, right? We've known for a long time that since the original FF7, Vincent's been Kitase's favorite character, right? So it's not one we need to talk about, but it is one that, like, articles picked up randomly. Kitase does say that he's looking forward to how they're going to depict Vincent in the third game, which I think a lot of us are looking forward to that. Sid's cool. I'm excited for some Sid, of course, but Vincent is by far the standout character in the next game for me, right? Used to be one of my favorite characters. I mean, it's one of my favorite characters for FF7, of course, but back in the day, it was one of my main party members and shit. But there's kind of just so much you can do with the character because of his, like, powers and abilities with the monster transformations and shit. And then also if you factor in the lore with, like, his chaos and the proto-materia and stuff like that, like, he's kind of the strongest character in the party, right? He's kind of a world beater. He's there to, like, destroy the fucking world, essentially, and then fucking Omega Weapon absorbs all the live stream, right? Like, he is insanely powerful, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they do it and, like, not... and make it make sense where it's like, why isn't he just destroying everything all the time, right? So I don't even know if we're going to be able to use the Chaos stuff, because when they went to, like, Dirge of Cerberus, like, they obviously gave a bunch of lore to Chaos, and you didn't just turn into Chaos whenever you wanted to, right? You're the Galleon Beast, like, the whole time, and at the very end of the game, I think you turn into Chaos when you fight Omega. If I'm correct on that, I don't remember. I haven't played Dirge of Cerberus. This is just kind of secondhand knowledge of the game. be kind of rambling at this point, but I'm just very much looking forward to how they depict Vincent in the next game as well, just like Kitase, but specifically his gameplay. Because we already have, a ranged gunfighter with Barrett, right? So how do you make him different? He's obviously going to be a faster character in terms of movement, because Barrett's obviously slow as shit when you do your fucking little dodge roll. It takes like 5 years. So, like, he's obviously going to be like that. And he can also kind of sort of, like, fly, at least like Advent Children, when they get to, like, was like the Forgotten City or whatever. You seem like kind of warping around like a vampire and shit. Are they going to make him a really fast character? And then obviously with the monster forms, that, like, makes his combat very different. We discussed on the channel not too long ago, they could do like different kind of weapon categories for him, like he actually has when it comes to the original FF7 with like rifles and shotguns and handguns and whatever. They could obviously differentiate how he acts in combat. So anyways, the next question is about the TV show or movie thing, which is pretty interesting, and we'll just play Kitase's answer.
So, of course, we don't have anything officially planned, and so this is just strictly my personal sort of wish. Yeah, I've seen or heard about various Hollywood directors and actors playing Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, personally, I would love to see something that comes out of these creators in terms of like a cinematic or some kind of visual piece. I would personally be excited because there are so many creators out there who do respect our Final Fantasy VII universe. But again, yeah, nothing planned officially. No sort of talks have been made along us. But yeah, it would be nice to see something.
Obviously, another like convoluted long Kitase answer, which he gives a lot. I noticed when I'm doing these like interviews for a while now, breaking them down, talking about him and shit. Like Kitase, when he has the mic, will give a long answer a lot of the time. But kind of TLDR, like he is interested in it. He mentions like Hollywood, actors and directors or something like that, then it's like, I don't know that I want, like, if we do something else with FF7, like a movie or TV show, I personally don't want live action anything. Like, it can be done right sometimes, right? Like, Last of Us was really good. The Fallout show was really good. I don't know that a live action FF7 would be good. I don't know. I just don't even think I want that, because you have these characters that look a very particular way because of the games. And unless you can find somebody that looks exactly like fucking Cloud or Sephiroth and Tifa, if you can find a live action Tifa, hit my DMs. I know for a lot of people, looks doesn't matter too much when it comes to like a live action interpretation of a video game, because it's hard to find a one-to-one, obviously, right? Last of Us is a good example. People, are very split on Bella Ramsey playing Ellie, right? And I'm kind of in both camps, because Bella Ramsey does a great job on the show. She's a great actress, but doesn't look anything like Ellie, and like she's very short. So like whenever you do the time skip and you have the adult Ellie in season 2, it's just a little bit weird that it still looks like fucking 13-year-old looking Bella Ramsey or whatever. So it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of in both camps on that discussion. But you can't just have like some random guy throw on a fucking Cloud wig and try to be Cloud in live action. Ultimately, I just don't want live action. And if they want to go the route of making another animated movie or an animated like TV series or something for Netflix or whatever other fucking streaming service, I'm super down all the time. I'm never not down for that. For a TV series, like, I don't necessarily want them to just like retell the FF7 story, right? Just give us, FF7 original story animated through, 1 or 2 seasons or however long they want to do it, however many episodes. I'll watch it. That's not what I want. I personally want more lore. Like, but the question is, do you go forward in the future or back in time, right? Do you go, post Advent Children, post Dirge of Cerberus, pick up with the group, the new threat, the new story, something along those lines, or do you go back in the past and tell the history of certain characters or whatever, like before Crisis or Crisis Core, I don't know. There's going to be different opinions on that. Everybody's going to have a different thought process when it comes to that. I'm personally kind of fine with either, depending on the subject matter, of course. Do I want like a fucking Don Corneo backstory? Nah, I'm good. Palmer backstory? Nah, I'm good. That's kind of why I'm not sure what you do. Because like if you go back in time, who are you telling the backstory of or for, and how crucial is that information to the overall FF7 story? Because if you look at like, Crisis Core, I feel like Crisis Core is pretty essential. Not everybody likes the game, but I think the story that's there is pretty essential to the overall FF7 story. I can't really speak for before Crisis just because I'm not super knowledgeable in that. And like post FF7, I feel like Advent Children's relatively important. I can't speak totally for Dirge of Cerberus because again, I'm not very knowledgeable in it. There's some interesting lore there with Omega Weapon and Chaos and stuff like that, but the Sviets and the other shit, I don't know enough about it to even really speak on it. There's of course the cliffhanger at the end of Dirge of Cerberus with, fucking Genesis spawning in and grabbing Vice's body, Vice and the Fuho, I think it is, or something. I don't know. Some guy that's like, it's like 2 people in a body or something. I don't remember the fucking entire story. But yeah, you have that cliffhanger secret ending from Dirge of Cerberus that we've never had a follow-up on, as far as we know. Unless, the remake series is indeed a fucking sequel. It's like, do you continue with that? I mean, I don't expect we will. We haven't had Genesis in fucking remake yet, so I don't know if they're ever going to revisit the character at all. But like, there is that you could do at some point. I don't know why you would do it, but they might. You, of course, have the essentially eternal threat of Sephiroth as long as Cloud's alive. He's attached to Cloud, so he can't really die. He's in the live stream. We see him come back with Advent Children, so he's theoretically kind of immortal in some way. Do you go forward in time at some point and they're fighting Sephiroth again? I mean, I'm there for it. It's not necessarily what I want. We fought Sephiroth a lot. We've seen it a lot. But it's Sephiroth. So, like, yeah, whatever. Let's do it. Fuck it. Geostigma 2. It's a very long-winded kind of tangent discussion on potential ideas for, like, you know, TV shows or movies or whatever for them for FF7. But go back to what Kitase said. He said there's no plans for anything like that. But it's like, I wonder how stuff like that gets greenlit, because obviously Nojima's the one that writes all that shit, but like, is it Nojima that was like, I want to write Trace the Two Paths, or is it like Square Enix comes to them or him and like, hey, we need something, we need a book or a movie, a TV show, and then he has to like come up with something? Or how does that work, right? Because like, if Kitase is interested in it and he's pretty goddamn important at Square Enix, why can't he get that going? Like, I want another FF7 movie or TV show. Let's get something going. Now that I'm thinking about it, I did say that I don't necessarily want them to do like a retelling of FF7, but what actually might be cool is like an animated series that does like the whole timeline up to where we are now, right? Like maybe starting as early as like the fucking Genova War 2,000 years ago, etc., and everything like that. Kind of cool. How much time you'd spend on that? Because you obviously need to do a time skip and get to the characters that people recognize, right? But it'd be kind of cool to do like the Genova War to a certain degree, and then get up to like the discovery of Genova, right? And then like before Crisis Core, FF7. I don't know if you do Advent Children again, because you already have the animated movie. You can watch that kind of anytime, anywhere, right? And maybe like a retelling of like Dirge of Cerberus too. And then maybe somewhere throughout all that, they can sprinkle in new lore, new information, kind of like what Remake's doing, and, you know, retelling FF7, but giving us new shit as well. I mean, an FF7 animated series makes a hell of a lot more sense than Final Fantasy IX. I love Final Fantasy IX, but what's up with that fucking show that was supposed to be happening? Whatever happened to that? What are we doing? Where's the 9 remake? I'm bringing that in here too. What are we doing? Come on, Square Enix and whoever else I need to bitch at. This video is going off the rails. I don't know what's happening tonight. Something's different. I don't know if it's because there's snow outside. I'm frozen in this bitch. I'm freezing my tits off making this video. I don't know, but something's a little bit different. It's pretty much it for the video. The last question is just Danny asking them why somebody that hasn't played FF7 should pick up Rebirth, and it's just them hyping up the game, right, essentially, and Hamaguchi pitching the fucking twin pack to get Remake and Rebirth together. As per usual, of course, pass off to you guys. The biggest, you know, thing from this for me, of course, is Kitase being interested in another, you know, FF7 movie or potential for a TV show or something like that. Let's assume that has to happen. There has to be a movie, there has to be a TV show, whatever. What do you want that to be? What would you want that to be? What's appealing to you in that? Do you want backstory shit, go back in the past? Do you want to continue the story going forward? What exactly would you like from an FF7 TV show or movie? Anyways, that is the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Search networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @DaveYT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine, or leave it like Cobain.